One of the advantages of living in the Inland Empire is that we have ready access to a number of interesting recreational areas. There's the coast, the mountains, and of course these desert areas. This past weekend we went out to Joshua Tree National Park, which is about a 90-minute trip right out here from where we're living in the Inland Empire. One of our primary goals while we're living out here in Southern California is to make all of the reasonably convenient day trips that take us to beautiful places. Again, this really wasn't an overlanding trip. We were more scouting and sightseeing. We are also aware of the fact that we may wish to come back because there's quite a few opportunities for dispersed camping in the area. So we are arriving at Joshua Tree National Park. I visited this in spring, shortly after I came to California in a rental car just to scout it. I think I put that in one of my YouTube videos. Now Kathy is with me, and we are in her Wrangler 4xe Sparky. We did not bring any camping gear. I am hoping to stay here. Now it's 2:30 and we're just arriving. I'm hoping to stay here well after dark so we can stargaze. We'll see how that goes. I think there's a full moon tonight, but a clear sky, so I don't know how fun it'll be. I brought the binoculars. If you drive up and you use Apple Maps, I don't know if Google Maps does it, this number is going to update constantly because it knows there's a backup at the entrance to the park, but how long it is varies. So when we pulled up, of course, there was no one behind us. Now I can see like 8 cars behind us, and we're still 3/10 of a mile from the gate. So I put up the annual pass, so if there's any opportunity to swing around, the park ranger will let us. But that's just the way it is pulling into Joshua Tree. I think it's about 2 hours to get out here, hour and a half. So this is only the second time I've come out, so I suppose I could do some web searching to try to figure out when is the line at the gate. Absolutely not here. You know what else I see?
What?
Joshua trees.
Oh, surprise!
Joshua Tree National Park, yes.
I want to touch a Joshua tree and see what it feels like.
But the other thing I always found interesting was that this spans the boundary between the Mojave Desert and the Sonoran Desert. So we'll start seeing Joshua trees, and if we drive more through like I planned, we will start seeing what I call as the Esparo, however you say it properly, cacti, the ones that you see in cartoons. I would say never come here if you're in a hurry. One, because I don't even know where the nearest services are. I don't know if they have like a rest area or pit toilet at the entrance gate. When I drove through last time, it is a national park, so there are like little paved trails, and there's some handicapped accessible sites if I'm not mistaken. But it's just basically a trail, a road through the desert with some trails. So there's not a lot of stuff in Joshua Tree. If you came here like needing to use the restroom or not having brought lunch or something, it would not be a good plan. So I think I mentioned in a previous video, if your national parks are ever in your future, buy the pass. So we hung it from the rear view, and it didn't buy us a ton because the asphalt here is super narrow. So we passed, probably 5 cars, not 10 cars. And it's not because they're not trying, it's just there's no place for them to send you around. Like when we went to Sequoia National Park, they're far enough away, the guy just said, yep, go. And we just drove right around everybody with the park pass. Here, they still do it, it's just it doesn't save you much time because there's only 2 lanes for like 300 feet. So I switched to Gaia, and this time I did download the map, so when we lose cell phone, I will have the map. And everything around you is beautiful, rugged desert. I have to remember to mess with the microphone because I'll never tell when I'm out here. But sometimes when I bring the GoPro back, all I hear is, but you hear a clack, 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 clack over the audio. And I assume in this kind of dry desert air, we're going to have the same problem where the dead cat I have on the microphone is going to build up static. I assume that's what's doing it. And then the GoPro, makes a little clack, clack, clack noise all the time when you play back the video.
Exhibit.
The guy who used to be a rapper, who did a voice actor too. Man, he's got to be standing out here all day. First dad joke of the trip. That's when I remembered you drive along. Oh, it's when people are taking like a wedding photo.
Wedding photo.
when I looked this morning at Gaia, it did look like there were quite a few interesting hiking trails. So I'm hoping we can find it, choose at least one other than just driving around. Although, nothing wrong with driving around either. Well, this is a new experience for me. I think we want to be right over there. There was a little marker which allowed me to see the trail, but I am literally like following Gaia GPS because the desert is just so open that you can see other people's footprints. It's not, unless you have Gaia like right in front of you, it's not at all clear which of the countless footprints here are properly on the intended trail, and I'm guessing they don't really care. Wait, do you want to touch a Joshua tree, Ken?
You have to touch it.
You have to touch a Joshua tree.
It's right here.
Right here. Why don't you touch this one? This one's begging to be touched. Yes, this tree is begging to be touched. Oh, that's even better. No? You're going to go for the big one?
It's like regular bark. With this waist part here.
It's kind of cool. There you go. So we can go home now. That was it. We touched the Joshua tree. And I'm still of the opinion we feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to come out here. I would say in general, California, great place to visit. I wouldn't live here. And it's not because it isn't beautiful or because the people aren't nice. It's just, how many traffic jams did we drive through?
Quite a few.
I think at least like 5, I think, just getting out here. And this is only like, I think, 80, 90 miles from the house. And that's just different. It's just, that's the first time I realized on a Saturday coming out the I-10 pass through the San Jacinto Mountains also backs up. Whereas like I-15 is always got a backup going to the gap in the mountains. So it just is what it is. You know, it's beautiful and lots of people want to be here, so it's crowded. Ooh, exciting desert wildlife.
I already saw the little micey.
Oh, you saw an actual mouse? No, I just saw their holes.
No, I saw them running around.
Oh, interesting. So Kathy already saw the desert rats. Yeah, I was just saying, I think you like to see the trees. I like to see the forest. So I'm like, oh, let's go walk here and there. And I've got Picture This, the app on my phone, and we were just identifying like that little cactus and things like that, which is kind of fun and cool too, huh? Antelope ground squirrel. Once again, we're into rodent taxonomy.
The wood rat or the ground squirrel?
All kidding aside, now Kathy, I did take for granted last time I was here the wildflowers were all in bloom, and that is obviously the better time to come through the desert, but this is still so exotic and gorgeous. And I was commenting, the Gaia GPS is amazing. I didn't realize how accurate GPS can be on your cell phone. So as soon as I wander off, because you can easily see where you can wander left and right, it's not clear exactly which trail is which. If you just look at your phone, it'll put you right back on. Glad Kathy walked past me on Gaia. There's a little loop farther than where I was standing. I wasn't really paying attention. And like right there at the very end of the trail. And yeah, you walk up here and you notice you're slightly elevated over that kind of bowl there. And it's very beautiful. Every now and then I add a photo to the track in Gaia. I just added this vista. It's quite beautiful. We'll probably head back, drink our water, relax, and see what else we want to see. So I realize I haven't filmed much since we finished walking by Quail Springs Trail there. And this is just a good sense of what it's like just driving through Joshua Tree. So not like other national parks I've been in. There are pull-out stops to look at things, parking areas that usually have trailheads nearby. Now you were mentioning the Boy Scout Trail was a permit required?
Yes.
Yeah, so I forget that, like going to Arches and stuff like that with friends, I forget they do all that work for me. So yeah, a lot of national parks have cool things to see, but when they become too popular, they're permit only. So good to do that research before you go to the park. In our case, we didn't have any great expectations today, so yeah, nothing to us not to be able to go do Boy Scout Trail without a permit. It's just no big deal. And as of yet, the flora and fauna, what fauna we've seen, but not a big change yet. Kathy was rereading the brochure. That part of the Sonoran Desert is specifically called the Colorado Desert. So more precisely, Joshua Tree Park has a portion that's in the Mojave Desert. The other portion is in the Colorado Desert, but the Colorado Desert is just part of the Sonoran Desert. I don't know if it's clear on the camera. The landscape is flatter and flatter, has fewer of the rocks, and still has Joshua trees, but it is getting kind of flatter and more sparse. And if memory serves, when I drove this before, we're not far from where all of a sudden you just kind of stop seeing Joshua trees and you see very different plants. It's just around dusk. Now the cameras really accentuate the light breaking over the mountain. It's a little different than what I'm seeing with my naked eye. I don't know if you can see what I'm guessing is Venus. I haven't looked at my star map, but I assume that's evening star there. And of course the moon is quite bright tonight. So hopefully some of this comes out. This is just, we're kind of lingering around. We're headed toward, lots of cars driving behind me here. That's in a general distance, I'm pretty sure is 29 Palms. So we're seeing 29 Palms there, and this is the road toward the north exit of the park. So Kathy's going to decide whether we continue toward the north exit and go around, or whether we go to the south exit, or we could just turn around and exit the way we came. So to me, no big deal. Like I say, we came here with no particular agenda, and the best part is Kathy said she really liked this and would like to come back. So I told her no problem coming back to Joshua Tree, or maybe if she just wants to explore other parts of the desert, we can disperse camp, where the advantage there is, like I told her here, even if we could camp overnight in the park, you're going to leave your setup and you're going to go do stuff and then come back. Whereas to me, if you primitive camp, if we wanted to stargaze or do whatever, we would do it from wherever we chose to park and set up camp. So we'll decide that later. But again, hopefully some of these images come out GoPro-wise. I took a bunch of pictures with the Kodak with its built-in scene settings. We'll see if any of those come out. Well, after a bit of semi-successful stargazing as the sun was setting and we were hoping to see Jupiter rise up over the horizon at the other end of the park, we did eventually pack it in and head home. I do have another video I'll link in the description about what to do when you get there for overlanding, in which I show some basic examples of simple stargazing with a pair of binoculars, which is what we did, and we enjoyed it very much. So once again, we completed a nice, simple day trip to a beautiful place near where we live, and also scouted it for potential future overlanding and dispersed camping opportunities.